Witness the fight the boxing world has been waiting for on Netflix. Canelo Alvarez and Terrence Crawford face off for the first time in their legendary careers for the Super Middleweight Championship in Las Vegas. The winner will walk away the greatest of their era. Watch Canelo Alvarez versus Terrence Crawford tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Live only on Netflix.
With a major selection of the looks your kiddos love starting at just $4 in the Walmart app, a new school year means a stylish new them. Who knew? Find skater skirts and Crocs that say, I'm casual but cool. Sparkly sneakers that say, it's my classroom, you're just learning in it. And preppy polos that say, I'm the teacher's pet, even if they're mommy's menace at home. Find their favorite styles starting at just $4 in the app. The Walmart you thought you knew is now new.
This episode is brought to you by Nespresso and Samra Origins by The Weekend Coffee Collection.
Introducing Samra Origins. My collaboration with Nespresso is a connection to my roots, to my mother, Samra. Coffee that hits the right notes. It transports you. Crafted with unique notes and bold, soaring flavors. Experience a taste that moves you. Nespresso and Samra Origins.
Discover more at Nespresso.com.
This episode is presented by State Farm. Having insurance isn't the same as having State Farm. It's like expecting the leadership of a team captain on the football field, but getting a sea captain. You wouldn't settle for just anything for your team. Shouldn't it be the same for your insurance? So don't settle for just any insurance when you can go with a leader. State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Mint is still $15 a month for premium wireless. And if you haven't made the switch yet, here are 15 reasons why you should. 1, it's $15 a month. 2, seriously, it's $15 a month. 3, no big contracts. 4, I use it. 5, my mom uses it. Are you playing me off? That's what's happening, right? Okay, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, $15 per month equivalent required. New customer offer first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Kelly Green Hour as we are headed to week 2 of the NFL season as the 1-0 Philadelphia Eagles travel to Kansas City to face the 0-1 Kansas City Chiefs in a rematch of Super Bowls 57 and 59. It is America's game of the week, which will be kicking off at 4:25 p.m. Eastern Time on Fox. I'm your host, LJ Harrell, and as always, I am joined by my co-host, Connor Donald. Connor, what's up, bud?
You know, it's the end of a work week. We're heading towards some football. I mean, last night's game was really good. The Commanders are looking a little overrated, as some of us may have expected. The Green Bay Packers are looking potentially like Super Bowl contenders, which we kind of discussed. And Jerry Jones is delusional, as his comments were made today, that he thought this was the best chance for Dak Prescott to win a Super Bowl. So things are going good. What about you, LJ?
I'm doing okay. I'm just happy football's back and watching yesterday's game. Green Bay did look good. I mean, Micah Parsons would actually look really good in an Eagles uniform, but that was never, ever going to happen. Before we jump into what we want to discuss this week, as always, follow us on Twitter at Kelly Green Hour. Follow Connor on Twitter at Connor10. Follow me on Twitter at LGRL54 and follow the Eagles Pinpool Network on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and wherever you get your podcast at Eagles Pinpool Network. And if you're joining us live, let us know your thoughts in the chat on this game, the players to watch, the keys to the game. If you have a prediction, let us know. And it seems like whenever the Eagles and Chiefs get together, it's usually an exciting game. Obviously, the two Super Bowls, while the Super Bowl 57, the Eagles lost. It was back and forth, and it was a really exciting game. Super Bowl 59, Eagles dominated pretty much from the very beginning. And there's been, when you talk about Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes, even though they technically don't go up against each other, it's offense versus defense, not quarterback versus quarterback, they are 2-2 against each other. Mahomes having won the first two, Hurts and the Eagles having won the last two. But this is the home opener for the Kansas City Chiefs. They're coming back from Brazil. We know what it was like for the Eagles coming back from Brazil last year after they defeated the Packers and with that Atlanta game, and it was on a Monday night, giving up that long 80-ish plus yard drive to Kirk Cousins, and the Eagles fell to 1-1. The Chiefs cannot afford to fall to 0-2, and I don't think I'm trying to think. I don't know if the Chiefs have this. If the Eagles were to win the game this week, it would be 3 consecutive losses going back to the Super Bowl for the Chiefs. And I don't know if that's happened under the Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid era for this Chiefs team.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't think it has either. I mean, if there was a team who could bounce back from 0-2, I know that, history dictates that is a very hard thing to come back from is 0-2 and making the playoffs or going further in the playoffs. But I mean, ultimately, if there's a team that I would sadly have faith in, it would probably be the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs over the last couple seasons have been notorious slow starters. But I mean, eventually, do we see those slow starts catch up to them?
I don't know if I would call them slow starters. They've been winning games. They usually one of the last undefeated teams in the NFL.
Yeah, and I guess it's more they have a lot of the ugly games in the early going of the season, maybe might be a better way to say it, because it feels like that's when they struggle the most. And that's when they get in the national media attention of what's going on, what's wrong with this franchise, what's going on with the Chiefs. Are they going to be able to go far in the playoffs? Look at how they're playing now. And they always seem to find a way to get out of that rut that the national media puts them in through the early part of the season. So that's more of where I'm coming from, is they tend to get that attention early on because their early play tends to not be as good as later in the season, and especially come the playoffs, their play becomes even better. So, I mean, I agree. Can a team afford to go 0-2? It's not really. So it'll be interesting to see how the Chiefs play, and coming away from, I mean, it was a close matchup last week against the Chargers. The Chargers gave them a run and ended up winning that game. But we know, like, going off and playing there can do certain things to a team, and then coming back can do certain things for a team. So it'll be really interesting to see how things go. We came off a win there. They're coming off of a loss there. So we get two different scenarios coming out of Brazil, and we'll see what happens this week. It'll definitely be really interesting to see.
Well, Andy Reid does have experience when it comes to starting 0-2 and still making it to a conference championship game. When he was the Eagles coach, I think it was I want to say it was 2003 when the Eagles opened the link. Actually, they started 0-2. They lost to the Bucks and the Patriots, if I'm not mistaken, and they still ended up like 12-4 or whatever it was, and still going to the NFC Championship game. So going 0-2 is definitely not the end all be all. It's a 17-game season, so they definitely have time to make up for it. Now, will they get the number one overall seed? Potentially not, with the way the Bills play, and the Ravens are still up there, and who knows about the Bengals? Like, they're still really good teams in the AFC. So while I don't think I would classify this as a must-win game for the Chiefs, it's obvious that they want to win the game, duh. But because nobody ever wants to start 0-2, but they've been so dominant in the AFC West and in the AFC, going to the AFC Championship game throughout pretty much Patrick Mahomes' entire career, that that if they were to lose this game this week, it's not the end all be all for them. They still have a chance to still make up ground, make a run. I know we're getting healthier. They'll get Rashee Rice back in 5 weeks. I don't think Xavier Worthy is going to play this week, so but they would get a healthy Xavier Worthy in a couple of weeks.
That would be shocking. A broken collarbone, and oh no, that's Jaden Reed with the broken collarbone. Yeah. But still, like, to be banged up the way he is.
Well, we saw Alshon. Now I don't know if it's the same injury that Alshon Jeffrey had back in 2017. Mm-hmm. Remember, he had to get massages every day, and I don't know, get it numbed, and he throughout the week apparently he couldn't lift his arm up above his shoulder. But remember the catch he made in the Super Bowl against the Patriots. So it is possible, but I don't know. I just think it's a little too quick of a turnaround, but we'll see. He is doubtful.
And it's too early in the season. Too early in the season to risk that. I mean, I'm sure we'll probably get into it eventually, like with A.J. Brown and stuff. But I mean, it's too early in the season to risk someone and affecting a more long-term injury when you have the chance to I understand this is a Super Bowl rematch. There's a bit of, a feeling of like, we want to win this. We need to win this. This is like a huge confidence boost game, but it just doesn't feel like the opportunity to risk someone further injuring themselves this early in the season.
Yeah, and you just mentioned this is the Super Bowl rematch, but if you look at the Eagles, there's a bunch of guys on defense that aren't here anymore that were playing in that game. Josh Sweat, Brandon Graham, CJ Darius Slay,
Milton Williams.
Milton Williams. There are a bunch of guys that had impact on the Eagles' number one defense last year, and the amount of pressure they were able to put on Mahomes in this Kansas City offense in the Super Bowl, not blitzing one time and getting 5 sacks. I don't know if the Eagles will be able to do that again, against the Chiefs. The Chiefs did attempt to improve their offensive line. They got rid of All-Pro Joe Thuney, and they drafted Josh Simmons out of Ohio State. He's the starting left tackle. They have Kingsley Samataya. My God, I probably butchered that. At left guard. So they have a totally new left side of the line. Then Creed Humphrey's one of the best centers in the league. Trey Smith at right guard, and Jawan Taylor, who has the propensity to jump off sides and commit a lot of penalties. So we'll see if Nolan Smith or Jalix Hunt or Zadarius Smith, whoever is going to be lining up on that side, is able to get some penalties called against Jawan Taylor. The Eagles are going to have to get pressure on Mahomes. The receivers that he could be playing with, Mahomes could be throwing to this week, besides Travis Kelce, who we already know. Hollywood Brown, he's pretty good. Juju Smith-Schuster, Tyquan Thornton, Isaiah Pacheco, Kareem Hunt out the backfield, Noah Gray at tight end. So it'll be really interesting to see what defense that Fangio employs, because I don't think you can do the same thing you did in the Super Bowl. You have different personnel on your defense. Now, I mean, Jahad Campbell, really good. We might see him against Travis Kelce. That would be a very interesting matchup. I think Jahad Campbell, Cooper DeJean, you might see a mixture there on Kelce. We'll see what happens. While Kelce is older, like he had that long touchdown last week against the Chargers. So we'll see you'd have to think that Mahomes is going to target Kelce, because, I mean, besides Hollywood Brown, like Juju Smith-Schuster he's going to want to go after the guy he knows that he can trust. So Jahad Campbell, Cooper DeJean, whoever, Reed Blankenship, Zach Ball, whoever it's going to be, they're going to have to put their big boy pants on and get ready for a tough battle against the Hall of Fame tight end. You're muted.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, eventually, I think it was just kind of the injuries caught up to them. They had Jalen Royals get hurt. They had the Xavier Worthy injury. So they have this buildup of injuries happening now. And I don't think we would see Hollywood Brown targeted. I think he was targeted 19 times last week. I don't think we see him targeted to the same tune that he was last week. So, I mean, I think I posted over on our Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, feed. This is going to be a get-right game for Adoree Jackson. He's going up against, a Juju Smith-Schuster. He's going up against a Tyquan Thornton. He's going up against someone who he should be able to prove that he can do better. Because, as noted earlier this week by Vic Fangio, it sounds like they're going to give Adoree Jackson the go at tight end or at CB2 again. So we'll see what happens there. But obviously, I think, in this situation, if a similar situation occurs to last week, like I said on our Twitter feed, I think that because you start to ask a huge question. I get it's Patrick Mahomes, but it is the Juju Smith-Schuster and Tyquan Thornton. At some point, you're going to have to decide. It's only a 17-game season. Maybe even 16, depending on how far you have to compete into the season. So you have to remember at this point, you only have so many games to make a decision. Is this a need? Is this an issue? Is this a position that we're going to have to address? And based on week one, the fact that he constantly had to be put up against CeeDee Lamb, we talked about this on the last episode. It felt like that was something that Vic Fangio should have adjusted to long before it got to the point where they literally ended up pulling Adoree Jackson. But from a tight end perspective, I agree. I think, Jahad Campbell showed some really impressive flashes in coverage last week, and I think it will be really interesting to see if he's able to cover a tight end to the tune of Travis Kelce. This is a future Hall of Famer. This is an elite tight end. I know that over the past year, we have started to see some regression in his game, but it is still that connection between Mahomes and Kelce. It can be huge in times when you need it to happen. And it would be huge for Campbell to step up in a couple situations and be able to show that he can cover Travis Kelce and he can make those big plays against those big tight ends. It'll be interesting to see how exactly what he said. What type of defense does Vic Fangio put out there? Hollywood Brown was clearly the favorite target of Patrick Mahomes. He ended up having 33%, almost 40% of the targets last week for the Kansas City Chiefs. So it's going to be really interesting to see, what does Fangio do with Kenyon Mitchell? I'm not so much thinking about Adoree Jackson in this situation. Whoever he's up against, he has to show that he can be the CB2. He can be better than he was last week. And no matter what, you should be able to be better against these wide receivers than you were against George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb. Should.
Well, you have to also put into account the quarterback that's throwing the ball, even though he's going to be throwing to some pretty mediocre-ish wide receivers compared to who the Eagles faced last week. Like, he can still put it in a spot where only the receiver can get it. So obviously, like Fangio was saying this week, that the technique for Adoree Jackson was off. Like, he was just opening up his hips. He was going the wrong way, this, that, and the third. So he'll have to figure it out. And then, like you said, this should be a get right game for him. But if he can't do it this
he's going up against two wide receivers like Tyquan Thornton and Hollywood Brown have legit speed. If your technique wasn't right and you were opening up your hips too early, those two guys are going to take complete advantage of you this week. No matter who you're on, one of those guys is going to take complete advantage. If you're on Juju all night, you can probably work with that. But the other two guys are legit speed threats. And I'm really intrigued to see what he does with Kenyon Mitchell, because this is one where if you shut down Hollywood Brown, I feel like you're really, really going to have to make Patrick Mahomes work for some of these passes.
And last week, it felt like Kenyon Mitchell spent a lot of his time on George Pickens. That allowed CeeDee Lamb to kind of do his work, on the other side against Adoree Jackson. So we'll see if I want to see Jacorian Bennett out there. He should know the defense by now. He's been here for almost a month, if not around that, or if not a week or two, a week less. So I would like to see Jacorian Bennett out there just to see what he's able to do. He has speed, and if you're going to go up against these speedsters, and if you're going to tell Kenyon Mitchell and I don't know if the Chiefs have a receiver where you're like, all right, Kenyon, you go and just shut this guy down. This might be a game where he just, like last week, he pretty much split his time on each side of the field. Last year, he was strictly, I think, a right corner, and Slay was the left corner, or vice versa, whatever it was. So he is flipping back and forth. That they had him, shadowing Pickens last week. I don't know if this week you say that the Chiefs have that. Like next week against the Rams, maybe he does it with Puka Nacua or Devontae Adams. They have the receivers, and against the Bucs, obviously, they have the receivers. So that's why I'm like, what type of defense will Vic Fangio do? At least in the secondary wise, what's he going to do? It's going to be very key for the Eagles to be a lot better against the run. They started off kind of bad against the run, but did a lot better. Obviously, in the second half, they didn't give up any points to Dallas. It's going to help a lot. It's going to help the defensive ends. It's going to help the corners that Jalen Carter is back. And hopefully he doesn't do something stupid before the first play of the game, which I don't think he will. It's going to help. I think this is the type of game that Carter needs to take all that frustration of not playing last week and everybody talking about him this week. And who knows what the coaches said to him or said about him, in meetings this week behind closed doors. Take all that frustration and take it out on Trey Smith and Creed Humphrey and this offensive line for the Chiefs. They're going to double team you. They're going to come at you. They're going to try to bait you. Don't fall for it. But take all the frustration out on the Chiefs. And if you get to Mahomes, you get to Mahomes and make him pay in a legal way. And the double teams that he is going to take is only going to help, Jordan Davis, Moro Jomo, Nolan Smith, Zadarius Smith, Jalix Hunt, all the defensive ends. It's going to help out the secondary because maybe they get to the quarterback quicker. They didn't have any sacks last week against Dallas. I know that Jordan Davis did get the Dak a couple of times, wasn't able to bring him down. If they're able to get to Patrick Mahomes quicker now, obviously he's a totally different animal. with the way he gets rid of the ball and then the platforms he can throw off of and whatnot. But it can only help your defense with Jalen Carter on the field. And the defense is going to look, I think, different, all because he's in the game.
Absolutely. You could tell last week that defense did not look right, and that defense probably would have looked a lot different if they had Jalen Carter there. And I think that's important. You point out a very, very key point. This defense we had over 100 yards in penalties, and they were probably the reason for 90% of their penalty yards that happened last week. I think it's important that, Travis Kelce, the king of baiting people into doing something stupid. So go, as soon as you see Kelce get in your face, get away from him, move away from him. Don't make Patrick Mahomes notoriously just make it a clean play against him, because, he has a tendency, this is going to sound like, we're typical Eagles podcast, but he gets some favorable calls from the referees. So it's important
that team does.
That team exactly. So, and Mahomes especially, like if he's going near the sideline, just block the sideline. Force him to the sideline.
Did you
if
see
he's
what he
going
did?
down,
did you see what he did a lot?
I know. He does things. He makes things happen. I think the NFL needs to address that. I think that's more of an issue than the tush push, but I digress. But you have to just force the sideline and hope that he takes the sideline. Do your best just to be that you're bigger, you're stronger than Patrick Mahomes on the defensive side of the ball. Just run into you. Just do something where you force him to the sideline and he has to make that decision to go out or run into this guy, and don't touch him. Just be that guy. But this is a team that loves to bait people into it because they know that they get favorable calls from the referees. So I think that it's important, this defense. If you want to celebrate, go ahead and celebrate. But I think the NFL has literally become the no fun league, and you celebrate with your team. Do not celebrate near the other team. Do not celebrate close to being over top of the other team. If you want to celebrate like the Nolan Smith play, go and do it somewhere with your teammates away from the Kansas City Chiefs. It just feels like they're prepared to make those calls, and you don't want to be the one to continue to take those calls, because we saw last week that we were at the forefront of that because the calls were not made to the same extent across other games on Sunday and Monday and even maybe Friday you could debate. So it'll be important. Discipline, we talked about in the review show. We're going to talk about it here. Discipline with this defense is going to be vitally important. It sucks because the defense sometimes makes some of the biggest plays that gets them so excited and that gets them celebrating and that causes the penalties. But you just have to know when to go away, when to move away, and when to just be extremely disciplined. And I think this is a team you have to show the absolute discipline. You have to over-discipline yourself up against this Chiefs team.
Yeah, and I think that was the key going into last week's game, is discipline, and obviously didn't work. And I think Brandon Graham said it best earlier this week. He was saying that if he was on the field, that probably wouldn't happen because he would have been in Dak's face, and Jalen wouldn't have had the opportunity to do it. And hopefully Zadarius Smith will bring that veteran presence, and I think at least for this week, and for the next, probably most likely for the rest of the season, Jalen Carter has learned from his mistake. But we'll see, and he is a vital part to this defense. And not having him, especially from play one, that changes your defensive game plan. You had a specific defense that you wanted, that the Fangio wanted to go in with, and then you'll lose your best player, and it's like crap. And now Jordan Davis was outstanding. He played way more than any of us thought he'd be able to play in a game, and he did an outstanding job. So hopefully Jordan Davis, he can keep that up with Carter there. We don't want to see that Davis played that way because of what happened to Carter, and then now that Carter's back, he thinks he can kind of take it easy. No, we want to see that level of aggression and see him play that type of ball every time he's out on the field. So hopefully, hopefully he can continue that. And again, having that presence on the defensive line is only going to help the defensive ends, the secondary, and maybe Adoree Jackson's not going to have to be covering for 7 seconds out there, and he won't get lost in the shuffle when receivers are zigzagging their way through the defense, and he's able to stay with them because the ball's got to come out in 3 seconds instead of 5, 6, 7 seconds.
Yeah, if you're forced to choose who you have to double team, like Jordan Davis looked like a guy that you had to double team last week, but they ended up double teaming Morojomo because that was a spot that Jalen Carter should have been. So I agree with you on that point. Like if Jordan Davis can be a pass rusher, like we had prepared to know that he wasn't necessarily, that wasn't the role that he was made to be, but he showed last week there was 2 or 3 opportunities that he had a chance to have Dak Prescott in his grasp, and you could tell he was a guy who wasn't used to that situation, or he just missed the situation because it's the first week of the football season. But if you are forced to choose between Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter, you have to make a decision. Somebody is going to be open. Somebody is going to be available to make that pass rush. Somebody will be able to make that play. So I think that Jordan Davis, I don't think that was necessarily because of the Jalen Carter thing. I think you heard the way that Vic Fangio spoke about it, and you saw the way that Jalen Carter has continued year over year to improve on his conditioning, that this is who Jordan Davis wanted to become. But now he has to adjust his game. He's got to make those plays. He's got to complete those plays because he might be a guy who's going to be going after the quarterback more because the attention is on Jalen Carter. So I hope we see a lot more of that from Jordan Davis, and I hope we see Jordan Davis out there a lot. I get we have some depth along the interior defensive line, but I would love to see Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter be able to be the anchors of it. Like if they could be out there, 80, 90% of the time, you should be out there, and you should go out there and do it that way.
Oh yeah, definitely. Now offensively for the Eagles, you definitely want to try to get AJ Brown and Devontae Smith involved more. We know that the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, their priority number 1 and 2 was stopping the Eagles running game, stopping Saquon, which they did for the most part. But Jalen was able to take advantage I think it was the second half, was getting some runs off, and he did it in the Dallas game where he was looking to pass and just didn't see anything, and was able to make some runs, get a couple rushing touchdowns, pick up that first down in the fourth quarter on 4th and 3 to ice the game at the end. So that's going to be key. Like first and foremost, I think the first play, and I don't know why they didn't do it, slant to AJ Brown. That play is so unstoppable with AJ Brown. Now, I sort of think AJ may not have been 100%. He's saying he's healthy. It was just the zone coverage, and there was nowhere to go. Also, the route tree, route combinations, whatever it was, they looked really terrible. Like, I don't know what they were running. So hopefully they figured that out. Patula figured that out. And so it'll be really interesting to see offensively, how are they able to get the receivers involved? Because I don't know how many they will. When winning, it's easy. But if the Eagles lose, say the Eagles lose against the Chiefs and AJ doesn't get his first target until the fourth quarter, might have some issues there.
Your season, your shot. The NFL season is rolling, and every touchdown can bring you closer to a payout with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. From first touchdown score to anytime touchdown props or the thrill of live in-game betting, every snap is loaded with opportunity. And this one is specifically for new customers who can bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Plus over $200 off of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code PINPULL. That's code PINPULL to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first $5 bet. Plus, over $200 off of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That is 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas, 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Fees may apply in Illinois. Void in Ontario. Bonus bet expires 7 days after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. NFL Sunday Ticket offer for new subscribers only and auto renews until canceled. Digital games and commercial use excluded. Restrictions apply. Additional NFL Sunday Ticket terms at youtube.com/go/NFL Sunday Ticket /terms. Limited time offer.
Race the rudders! Raise the sails! Raise the sails!
Captain, an unidentified ship is approaching. Over.
Roger. Wait, is that an Enterprise sales solution?
Reach sales professionals, not professional sailors. With LinkedIn ads, you can target the right people by industry, job title, and more. Start converting your B2B audience today. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started today at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
If you thought goldenly breaded McDonald's chicken couldn't get more golden, think Goedert. Because new sweet and smoky special edition gold sauce is here. Made for your chicken favorites. At participating McDonald's for a limited time.
Brooks Running reminds us that we're all powered by something. Whether it's the me-time energy of a run after a day at the office, the electrifying energy of your first marathon, or the infectious energy of a group run with your friends. No matter what energy powers you, Brooks has gear specifically designed to unleash it. So lace up and let it out. Let's run there. Visit brooksrunning.com today to learn more.
Are your business expenses playing hide and seek? With Uber for Business, the small spends that slip through the cracks, like rides and meals, go right where you need them. Because it integrates with leading expense platforms, you can say goodbye to surprise costs, missing dollars, or chasing receipts. Everything's track downable. Uber for Business. Make small steps that make a big impact. Learn more at uber.com/small steps.
Yeah, I mean, I know that like Colin Cowherd and stuff are saying they don't see him finishing up the season in Philadelphia. I shared it to the Twitter feed. There's no way he doesn't make it through the next 2 seasons because financially, as much as Howie Roseman can finagle things, he's not going to be able to get out of this. It's like near 90 million dead this year and near 50 million dead next year. The out is 2027. So he's going to be around. They're going to have to find a way to get him involved, healthy or not healthy. He has to find a way to get himself involved. And we know that even as a 50%, 60% of an AJ Brown is better than a 100% of a Jahan Dotson, Johnny Wilson, anybody who's out there playing wide receiver, John Mechie, Darius Cooper, doesn't even matter. He is definitely key and important. So it'll be interesting to see what they do, and they definitely have to get him involved in some sort of way. And I'll be interested to see how they do that.
And it was interesting what AJ said that Sirianni praised Devontae, praised AJ for their blocking, and he's like, I don't want to. And he's like, I don't want a participation trophy. So I was like, so it's look, AJ wasn't satisfied with winning the Super Bowl, and so not being satisfied winning the Super Bowl should say a lot about AJ Brown. He really, really, really wants to leave his legacy out on the field, and I don't know. He wants to be a Hall of Famer, and obviously with this in a different offense, he would be able to get better numbers, in the passing game. But we all know that this Eagles offense is a rushing offense. They're going to be a running team first. But we saw it in the Super Bowl when the opportunity rises, Jalen can throw the football. He did it again. Did it against Cincinnati. He did it against Pittsburgh last year. So this could be one of those games where he's going to have to throw. The Eagles are going to have to throw the football, and I just want the first play of the game to go to AJ Brown. Get him involved early, just so he knows that he is involved. And another interesting, Petula this week said they asked him about the first 15, and he's like, "Yeah, we don't script plays." I really hope he's lying. Because if you don't script plays, then that's a different discussion that we're going to have.
Yeah, no, I agree. Kevin Petula he needs some work with the media. I don't know what it is, but he continues to seem to not be able to answer questions very well with the media. And he doesn't seem to know how to handle the media in general. So hopefully he figures that out. It's something that he hopefully will figure out. It's something that, some haven't figured out as offensive coordinators in Philadelphia, but we'll see. And with A.J. Brown, we saw with that Pittsburgh Steelers game last year after the infamous book game and stuff where he said he's never going to bring a book anymore. But we saw that game. He can be a crucial part to this offense, and he's more than willing to stand off when he needs to stand off on that offense. So it'll be interesting to see. It's just this offense isn't predicated on a guy who gets, 10 to 15 targets, 100 to 200 yards, 1 to 2 touchdowns a game. This isn't predicated on a wide receiver being able to do that. It's predicated on what the defense is giving you and what they're able to work with. And that's just the reality of the Philadelphia Eagles offense. And I know that the national media wants to take it and run with it as this, they're upset in A.J. Brown. He's going to leave. The reality is A.J. Brown cannot leave, will not leave, and is going to be a part of this offense. There's just going to be games where it's just not going to fit the script. As much as Petula says there is no script, there's definitely a script. If things are going well, if the run game is going well, the script is going to lean towards a run-heavy offense. If the run isn't going well and you want to see if you can unleash Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, and this passing offense, which is likely going to happen here against Kansas City, then there's going to be a script that leads more to play action, run-pass option, and situations where you're going to try and throw the ball down the field and open up that game like we saw that Jalen Hurts can do with even Jahan Dotson. Those are some of the most effective plays for this Philadelphia Eagles offense, is just throwing the ball and opening the offense up and seeing what you can do with it.
And without Dallas Goedert, who's out this week, Devontae Smith is usually in for a big game. So I expect Devontae Smith to get his catches, get his numbers. We've seen games. Remember, I think it was the first year in Philly for Sirianni where AJ went off and Devontae didn't have any catches, and then the next week Devontae had a big game. So without Dallas Goedert, and not having Dallas Goedert's also going to hurt in the running game, because we know how good of a blocker he is and how good of not blockers Calcaterra and Kylan Grayson are. So we expect Cameron Latu to probably be brought up from the practice squad. He'll be the third tight end, probably fullback, since Ben Van Sumeren is out for the season. Yeah, and this Dallas Goedert thing is crazy, because he's such a
This is why you can't pay him. This is why you cannot pay him. Some team will pay him realizing the talent, but Howie will not pay him. And it's the reality of the situation. You can't pay this guy because you know he's going to miss. And like someone said in our group chat with the EPP group, you cannot trust us that this is a 1 week injury, because this guy cannot play through injuries. The reality is this is going to be something that if he plays the next week, it's going to affect him later on in the season. He has to miss enough time to fully heal and be able to play down the line.
I don't even know when it happened. Honestly, I just don't remember.
I mean, it's a strain or a sprain. That's all it is. It's always something to do with the muscle, and he's not able to play through it. And I don't know if it's just that he doesn't have the strength to play through it, or if it's just, I don't know what it is. I cannot get it, but you can see why why the rumors were persistent about Dallas Goedert, why Howie was willing to put more money this year, but wasn't willing to sign him further on, because the reality is you can't trust a guy that can't be healthy for, to be there 16 games. If it's 14 or 15, fine, but you can't even trust him to be there for 14 or 15 games. It's frustrating. His talent is on a high-end level, but it is so frustrating, these situations, and that's happening this early.
How he missed the boat on not having a replacement, like he had a replacement for Ertz in Goddard. Now, there's always that possibility is making a trade out there. I don't know, Darnell Washington, I don't know, him, maybe Pitts, I don't know if he's available, but we'll see what happens in that regard. But yeah, so Super Bowl rematch, Eagles, Chiefs. Before we do our prediction, one of our favorite segments is our unheralded player of the week for the previous week in the NFL. By unheralded, we don't mean the superstars. We don't mean Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Saquon Barkley. We want somebody under the radar, somebody who helped their team in a way, but is not the all-star, not the Pro Bowler, not that type of player. I have somebody. I don't know if you're ready, Connor.
I have somebody. I'll go ahead. Do you want me to go ahead?
You better not take mine, so go ahead.
I'm going with Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. It's a divisional rival. It's the Washington Commanders. But obviously, last week he had a great game. He went 10 for 82 with a touchdown, and then obviously for the rest of the season, he becomes exponentially more important because Austin Eckler got hurt last night.
And they traded Brian Robinson.
and they traded Brian Robinson. So obviously this guy has to become like the forefront of this Russian offense. I still think the Commanders would be very intelligent to go out and grab another running back. And I don't think I would fully trust this guy to do the full workload. But obviously he went for 10, 82, 1. He was targeted once, didn't make the catch. But I think that obviously this was a guy that the Washington Commanders thought very highly of heading into this game, or heading into the game week one. They is somebody they wanted to have as a starting running back, and I think that eventually Eckler was going to lose this job, and he was going to continue to take more and more and more. But now, obviously, he's going to be shoved right into this main, Russian pass catching running back job. It'll be interesting to see what the Washington Commanders do. Wouldn't be surprised if they brought in another 30-something-year-old running back. Why not?
Or they make a trade for like a Kenneth Walker type. You never know. I'm going to go with this guy. I think he was a first-round pick, but he also struggled mightily in his first year. I don't know if this is year 2 or 3 for him, but I'm going with Quentin Johnson for the Chargers. He had 5 catches, 79 yards, and 2 touchdowns in their upset victory over the Kansas City Chiefs, 27-21. That was a big statement win for Jim Harbaugh and the Los Angeles Chargers. They won a state claim for the AFC West, and you have to be able to beat the Chiefs, and they were able to beat the Chiefs in Brazil. Quentin Johnson coming up big for them for the Chargers. So I'm going Quentin Johnson, and you went Bill. And I'm only going Bill just because I don't feel like saying this one. All right, Connor. Let's give our prediction for this game. The Eagles are 1-0. The Chiefs are 0-1. Give a player that could affect the game, and then I'll do the same, and then we'll give a score.
I think offensively it's going to be Devontae Smith. Like you said, there's nobody you're going to put in that slot position. There's nobody you're going to put in a position to be a key offensive contributor to replace Dallas Goedert like Devontae Smith. It feels like whenever Dallas Goedert's hurt, Devontae Smith has those big games. I know that in theory, A.J. Brown would be the one to pick, but I don't believe that he's not 100%. I believe the guy who's 100% on that offense is Saquon Barkley, who would be a very easy pick, and Devontae Smith. So I'm going with Devontae Smith. I think that he's going to have a good game. I think he's going to be a huge contributor. I think that as much as we are a Russian offense, it is going to be vital that we pass the football and that we show that Jalen Hurts can move the football through the air, because I think that the Chiefs are going to put up points. I think that we're going to put up points, and that's going to lead us to having to contribute through the air in that way. Defense, I alluded to it earlier. Discipline. We saw almost all, if not all, of the 100 and something yards of penalties last week was all on the defensive side of the football. It's important that you don't let these guys get under your skin. Make the smart plays. If it means Patrick Mahomes gets an extra couple yards because you don't take the 15 plus yards with the penalty, I think that that's all. I think that that's a reality that you have to accept with playing the Kansas City Chiefs. The refs play them that way. The NFL plays them that way. They want to play them that way. So it's a reality that we have to accept. And CB2 is going to be such a massive question mark. It's something I'm watching so closely. If this game is another one where Adoree Jackson disappoints, cannot do it, I think you have to really consider, like, I get it. It's only week 2. But if you go into week 3 of a 17-game season, like you're starting to get towards 20-25% of games played, you have to make a decision, and you have to make it soon on the CB2 position. So it'll be interesting to see how things go there. I'll let you go with your keys of the game, and then we can make our predictions quick.
So defensively, I'm going Jalen Carter because he wants to get 2 games of frustration out. So I expect him to have a big game. Offensively, I'm going Tyler Steen because I think Chris Jones, who has the ability to wreak havoc along the defensive line for the Chiefs, is probably going to line up across from Steen, the quote unquote weak link of he is the weak link of the offensive line for a lot of the time. And you mentioned it, discipline on the defensive side of the football. Be smart. Don't take dumb penalties, even though that like taunting penalty on Nolan Smith was a bunch of BS. Just be smart with it. And then offensively, don't turn the football over. This is a very beatable team. This isn't the Chiefs' mystique is like wearing off a little bit. It's not gone, but like it's starting to wear off, I think. But this is their home opener. They are expecting a huge crowd. There's going to be a lot of Eagles fans there, by the way, too. So I was hoping to make this one, just not able to. So I expect a rowdy crowd, and we will see what happens in that regard. So your score, Connor, I wrote mine down, so hopefully, so nobody can think that we cheat in the end.
I think the Chiefs are going to take this one. It just feels like that game, it's going to be the reverse of last year for us. It just feels like the Chiefs are going to come back and they're going to right their wrongs. I think it's going to be the Kansas City Chiefs or the Philadelphia Eagles, but I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think it's going to be 34-31.
34-31 KC. I have 24-21 Eagles. I think the Eagles are going to be able to pull out the victory against the Kansas City Chiefs to go to 2-0 in the go to 2-0 and in still first place, because if they go 2-0, then Dallas and the Giants are both 0-1 and they face each other, and they're going to need it because it's going to be them and the Packers neck and neck all season potentially for that number one seed. And the Chiefs will fall to 0-2, but it's not doomsday for the Chiefs if they fall to 0-2. They still can win the division. Thank you all for tuning in to the Kelly Green Hour. We'll be back on Tuesday with hopefully Victory Green Hour number 2 after the Eagles and the Chiefs do battle in America's Game of the Week on Sunday at 25 p.m. As always, follow us on Twitter at Kelly Green Hour. Follow Connor on Twitter at Connor10. Follow me on Twitter at LJRL54 and follow the Eagles Pinpool Network on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and wherever you get your podcasts at Eagles Pinpool Network. For Connor, I'm LJ. We'll see you next week. Thank you for tuning in to the Kelly Green Hour.
Fly, Eagles, fly.